Hello, welcome back to Calculus. In this video, we're going to be talking about the chain rule with other kinds of functions. So in the last video, we talked about the chain rule with polynomials raised to a power, and now we're going to deal with other kinds of functions. The chain rule works exactly the same way when we have stuff like trig or exponential functions. We just need to be careful when identifying f and g. That way we are doing the chain rule correctly. So in this first example, we want to find the derivative of y equals cosine of x to the power 4 plus x to the power 2. So what is our outer function here? Well, what are we doing here? We are taking the cosine of something. So cosine is our function f of x. Cosine of x. And our inner function is the stuff that we are taking the cosine of, which is x to the power of 4 plus x squared. If we wanted to check our work, again, we could do f of g of x. This is what we want our function to be. F here is cosine x, but since I'm composing f with g, I replace this x with g of x, which is x to the power of 4 plus x squared. And hey, check it out, that is my original function. So we are good to go. We have correctly identified f and g. Now we need to take the derivatives of these functions. So f prime of x is negative sine x, and g prime of x is 4x cubed plus 2x. And now we can just plug into the chain rule. So we know that y equals f prime of g of x, the derivative of the outer function, times the derivative of the inner function g prime of x. So f prime here is negative sine of x. Then I replace this x with the function g of x, which is x to the power of 4 plus x squared, times g prime of x, which is 4x cubed plus 2x. And this is our derivative right here. So this is f prime of g of x times g prime of x. So the chain rule works exactly the same way when we have other kinds of functions. Let's do another example. Here we want to find the derivative of y equals e to the power of sine x plus 7x squared. So our outer function f, what are we doing here? Well, we're taking an exponential. So that is our outer function e to the power of x. And our inner function, what is the power of our exponential, is sine x plus 7x squared. You could check your work here if you're not sure. But from here, we find f prime of x, the exponential, the natural exponential is its own derivative. And g prime of x is equal to cosine x plus 14x. And now we can plug into the chain rule again. So y equals f prime of g of x times g prime of x. So f prime is e to the power of x, but since I'm taking f prime of g of x, I replace this x with the function g, which is sine x plus 7x squared, times g prime, which is cosine x plus 14x. So this is really similar to our original function. The only thing that has changed here is that we are multiplying by the derivative of the power here. So that is kind of the cool thing about exponential functions, is that usually our derivative looks somewhat similar to our original function. And this is the chain rule with other functions. Hope you learned something.